You guys remember that movie, A Few Good Men, right? You remember that dramatic scene that everybody talks about when Tom Cruise tells Nicholson that he wants the truth. What does Jack Nicholson say? You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Well, today's video is something like that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people are not ready for what I'm about to say. I can already feel the backlash, right? And the comments of coming. But today I'm giving you guys the truth. I'm breaking down 5 reasons why people stay broke. Again, I'm forewarning you, some people are going to feel attacked. Some people are going to feel triggered. But it's important that you listen up, because if you're someone that wants to change your life, change your finances, create financial freedom and security for you and your family, you need to pay attention to these things that I'm about to share with you. All right, guys, for those that don't know me, I'm Jose Gonzalez, aka Mr. Wealth Mindset. And this channel was created to help people break the limiting beliefs that are keeping you broke. All right. If you're someone that didn't come from wealth, but you want to make sure that wealth comes from you, welcome. So guys, let's get right into it. Like I said, today I'm giving you the 5 reasons that people stay broke. And as I was putting my notes together for the show, I thought about one more. So I'm going to add that in the end as a bonus. You want to pay attention to that, because that is a big reason that people stay broke. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Number one reason, or number one on my list, that people stay broke is that they want to impress other people. You know, there's a saying by, I think Gary V, that says people buy things that they can't afford with money that they don't have to impress people that they don't like. And let me tell you something, that is very true. Now, you see a lot of examples of this, but I'm going to use one example. This is my example. Again, you feel attacked, I warned you, right? Let's talk about Apple Watches, right? You know, you see all these people with Apple Watches, and when you ask them, why'd you got an Apple Watch, right? What does it do that your cell phone doesn't do? Oh, I can get my messaging calls right here. Okay, your cell phone does that. Oh, I can track my steps. Really? Really? You're 40 years old, your entire life, you never gave one crap, you never cared at all about tracking your steps, but now you're going to spend a few $100s on some high-tech gadget just so you can track your steps. Miss me with the BS, guys. Miss me with that. All right. You bought that Apple Watch so you can keep up with the Joneses. You bought that Apple Watch so the other people can see, oh, look, he's got it going on. Not only can he afford a phone, but he can afford a watch that does the exact same thing as his phone. All right. And that's just one example. Okay. There's many other examples where you see this, right? Where people may buy certain name brands, certain outfits, they buy certain things and they can't even afford it. I know people, right? And if they watch this video, they're going to know who I'm talking about. But I know people that go to department stores, buy outfits, put it on, take a picture, post it on social media, and then go return that outfit. Okay. So they spent the gas money, went through all that trouble for why? Why? You can't even afford to keep that. You can't afford to own it, but you want other people to see you in it. Okay. You see this where you'll see someone posting a picture and they're in front of a luxury car. They don't own that car, right? But they want people to see them in front of that car. Now, if you're taking that picture because, hey, that's part of your vision board, because you're speaking into existence, because you're trying to get to that level, great. All right. I commend you. Everybody should do that. But if you're just doing something because you want to be seen by other people, I'm telling you right now, that's one major reason that people stay broke. Now, number 2 is that people have a consumer mindset. This is what I mean. If you was to ask a group of people or one person, whatever, if you was to ask people, hey, if you won the lottery today, like that Powerball is, right now is like $1.2 billion. If you ask people, hey, if you won that Powerball, $1.2 billion, what's the first thing that you're doing? Okay, now, nothing is absolute. So don't say to me, oh, I would start a charity, I would give it to the poor. Listen, nothing is absolute. There's always an exception. I'm talking about generalization. I'm talking about people who are broke, okay, and the things that keep them broke. All right. Most people would say, oh, I would, you know what? I'm gonna buy that dream house. I'm gonna buy a yacht. I'm gonna go on vacation. You know, you're not gonna see me for a long time. I'm gonna buy. Well, guys, that right there, that consumer mindset is what keeps a lot of people broke. Let me share with you this quick short story. My business partner, a couple of weeks ago, we were supposed to go to a trip to a leadership summit in Salt Lake City. And he calls me up the day before and he's like, man, Jose, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going on that trip by yourself. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, my house just burned down. Whoa. All right. That's devastating. Okay. Now, luckily, thankfully, everyone was safe. No one was harmed, just the house, right? The house burned down to a freaking matchstick. There's water damage, drywall. That's it. He needs to get a new house. Now, he didn't panic because, you know, his finances are okay. So his mindset is like, where's the hot dogs? Where's the burgers? Let's have a barbecue, right? But check this out. There were 8 houses in that fire that all got burned down. Do you know that 2 of those homeowners did not have homeowner insurance, did not have fire insurance? But it gets better. One of those individuals is an individual who's always coming over to him and saying, hey, have you tried this $400 bottle of bourbon? Oh, look, I got this $400 bottle of tequila. Have you tried this? So you spend $400 on a bottle of liquor and you don't have homeowner insurance. Guys, that's what I'm talking about when I say consumer mindset. All right. You have people that would rather go to the club, pop bottles, okay, go have a good time with their friends, go to places, buy things that they can't even afford, but they don't have the basic things that they need. They're a homeowner and they don't have insurance on that home. Okay. That right there, that consumer mentality keeps people broke. Number 3, I told you I was giving you guys the truth and nothing but the truth, right? Is they lack gratitude. Now, in one of my previous videos, if you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. It was called the 5 habits that keeps people broke. You need to go check that video out because I talk about the language of broke people. There's actually a language, right? And that language is that broke people are complainers. But today I want to reframe that from the standpoint of a lack of gratitude. A lot of people are broke because they have a spirit where they lack gratitude. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. I live in Philadelphia now, but I was born and raised, you know, grew up in New York City. And a few years back when I was still living in New York City, I was watching the news, something that I seldom do, but I was watching the news. And what do they have on the news? They have this segment called Help Me Howard, right? Where people call in to this reporter, Howard, and he's an investigative reporter, and there's things that people are trying to get help with. They haven't been able to get help, so they call Help Me Howard, and Howard comes to the rescue. They were talking about this lady. They were interviewing this lady, you know, clearly, you know, a senior, clearly in her 70s, right? I can't remember her age, but I know she was 70 something years old. You know, you could tell she has some health issues. She had like one of those breathing tanks, whatever, oxygen tanks. She had a walker and she lived in public housing, right? What we call affectionately the PJs, the projects, right? Now, you know that in the, if you know anything about the projects, you know that light is free, right? Gas and electric is free, right? Heating is free, okay? You might pay some rent. You might have some sort of subsidized rent that you pay, but your utilities are free or included. Well, guys, what happened? They had this lady on the news because for 5 days there was no heat, okay? And no electricity. And it was winter, all right? So the story was that this 70-year-old elderly lady in frail health condition had to spend the last 5 days, you know, using her gas stove to boil water just to take a bath because there was no running hot water, that they had to use candles to light, you know, to see in the evening because there was, you know, no electricity. Now, when you hear that On the surface, it sounds kind of heartbreaking, right? It sounds harsh, but I want you guys to think about this for a second. We live in the greatest country in the world. I'm not saying the best, as in we're better than other countries or other people. I'm talking about opportunity. Okay, I'm talking about resources. I'm gonna tell you this: where my family is from, where my father grew up in Dominican Republic, in that area where they grew up, and I've been there many times. He took me as a child so I can see why we have the American dream. Most of my cousins and family members and uncles, and my father included, they grew up without shoes, running around on rocky terrain with no shoes. They grew up in small shacks where the floors were unfinished. The floors were the same dirt as the streets outside. No running water. I'm not talking about hot water. I'm talking about no running water, where you have to go down to the river every day and carry buckets of water on your head, bring them back so you can have water to cook, water to bathe yourself, water to drink. No electricity. Okay. Now, some people have generators. I know a lot of people who are building houses in that area, which are powered by generators because there's no electricity. All right. Now, what's my point? My point is that that's not just in Dominican Republic, okay? Or parts thereof Dominican Republic. Many parts of Dominican Republic do have hot water, running water, electricity most of the time. If you've ever been to the Caribbean, you know what I mean, okay? Because if you go to the Caribbean islands, you know that every now and then, for several hours in the day, there's no electricity. That happens in a lot of parts of the country. It happens in the world. It happens in Nigeria, in Africa, in different parts of the world. People do not have electricity 24 hours a day. People do not have running water. But yet, we have someone who's on TV being interviewed and basically expressing how difficult their life has been for the last 5 days. Guys, that is what I call a lack of gratitude. Because let me tell you something. If that poor lady found herself living in a different part of the world, she would wish that she would exchange 50 out of 52 weeks of hot running water and electricity, as opposed to half of the year, half of every day without it. Okay. If it's tough for her going 1 or 2 weeks without hot water and electricity, imagine what it would be like if she lived in a remote part of the world. And a lot of us have that same spirit. A lot of us look at the things that we don't have, or how we're inconvenienced by something. There's been blackouts. You hear people complain every time that there's a blackout. OMG, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to charge my phone? How am I going to watch my favorite show? You should go live somewhere else. I'm not saying you need to leave. I'm not saying that you shouldn't live here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you should go live somewhere else for a little bit of time and see how people live around the rest of the world. And then maybe you'll have a deeper appreciation for the privileges that we enjoy here in America. Now, guys, number 4, this is a big, big reason that people stay broke. People do not invest, okay? People do not invest. Now, Warren Buffett, who's the richest investor in the world, the most successful, the most highly respected investor in the world, he says this: if you can only invest in one thing, invest in yourself. All right. A lot of people refuse to invest in themselves. All right. I'll give you a prime example. A few months ago, I was having a conversation with someone and I was sharing with them an investment opportunity. Okay. And the investment opportunity was $200. And after I shared the information with them, they looked at everything. They were like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, this sounds great. I would love to do this, but I don't have $200. And I was like, well, listen, I understand that, I've been there, but I would say to you, let's figure out, how you can get it, because we're talking about an opportunity here to change your life. You agree, right? Yep, I agree. Yep, this is an opportunity that can change my life. Yep, this is something that I should be doing. This is something that me and my family should be doing. And I was like, well, let's go at it. And this is what the person said to me. Oh, but you don't understand. I got this business that I'm doing. This is my full-time job. Plus, I also do this. Plus, I also do that. So I don't even have that much time. I'm like, great. You have 3 jobs, 3 side hustles, 3 businesses that you're involved in, but you don't have $200. Okay? I want you to think about that for a second, because a lot of people make that excuse. They tell you, oh, I got this going on. I got this going on. I got this going on. I'm doing good. I'm blessed and highly favored, but I don't have $200 to invest. Okay. Now, guys, what I'm going to say to you, and then a lot of people carry this over into jobs sometimes, right? When you've been at a job and you're like, oh, I haven't gotten promoted, this, but you haven't invested in yourself. You haven't improved your skills. You're the same person that you were when you got hired. You have the same skills and acumen that you were when you got hired, but yet you expect that you're supposed to get this magical raise, this magical promotion. All right, guys, we live in like I said again, the greatest country. We live in one of the most technologically advanced times in history, where you can literally go to your job, work 9 to 5, and then come home and start working on your side hustle. Okay. But people don't invest. That right there is a big, big thing that keeps people broke. All right. Now, the last thing that I want to say on that is that, to my earlier point, oftentimes people get presented with opportunities, right? And you probably heard the acronym for POUR, passing over opportunities repeatedly. A lot of times people are presented with opportunities, but they pass them up. Okay. And then they wonder why nothing changes for them. I'm going to share with you a quick story. You probably heard this story already, about the man who believed in God, right? So there was this man who believed in God, and he was drowning at sea. He was in the middle of the sea, got shipwrecked. He finds himself drowning, and he's praying to God, God save me, God save me, God save me, right? And as he's praying and screaming and hailing, a boat comes by, and someone's like, hey, come over here. Here's a life raft. And they're like, no, 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 no. God is going to save me. And they're like, okay. And they keep on going, and he's there screaming and hailing and trying to stay above water. God save me. God, please save me. Another boat comes by. Hey, you need help? No, I'm good. God is going to save me. Third boat comes by, right? Offering help. The guy's like, no, God's going to save me. What happens? The man drowns. Okay. He drowns. And when he makes it to heaven, he says to God, God, what happened? I kept asking you to save me. And God just says to him, I sent 3 boats. And that's the condition that a lot of people are in. A lot of people want somebody to throw them a life raft, but they want it to come directly from God, right? But when the opportunity comes, when someone says to you, hey, listen, I have this opportunity, here's a life raft, they're like, nope, I'm good. God is going to save me. That's all I'm going to say on that. And then the last point, guys, before I get to my bonus point, is people do not like to learn. Whew. Let me tell you something, guys. Something that my business partner and mentor always says to me is, you are going to get paid in direct proportion to what you know. But I'm going to say that a little bit different. I'm going to say it like this. Learners are earners. I'll repeat that again for the people in the back. Learners are earners. Now, for many, many years back in the day, I used to work as a server. And I can tell you this, and anyone who's ever worked with me as a server, you know this. I was always tops in sales, and I was always #1 in tip percentage. Have you ever been to a restaurant, right? And you ask the server a question and they don't know? What do you think about that server, right? You either think that they're new, or that they were poorly trained, or that they just didn't take the time to learn. But as opposed to going into a restaurant that you ask someone a question, other question, another question, another question, and they're just like, they got it. They know it. You're like, oh, I'm being taken care of by a professional. Okay? Learners are earners. And a lot of people stay broke because they do not want to learn new skills. Let me tell you something. Learning is the basis of living. Okay, you had to learn how to walk. You had to learn how to speak. Whatever language you speak, you weren't born knowing that language. Go to a maternity ward right now and talk English to a newborn. Talk Chinese to a newborn. They don't understand you and they can't speak back. They have to actually learn it. Everything that you're able to do, everything that you're able to do in your life, whether it's walking, driving, talking, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, tying your shoelaces. You don't remember the rabbit ears? Okay, remember the first time that you tied shoelaces? Everything that you've had to do in your life, you've had to learn. And I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, this was something that used to cripple me for many, many years. I would tell people, oh, I need to do this. I want to do this. And they're like, oh, great. All you have to do is this and this, that. Oh, but I don't know how to do that. It showed up in my bank account big time. Okay. Learners are earners. So guys, there you have it. Before I get into my bonus tip for today, impressing other people, having a consumer mindset, lacking gratitude, not investing, especially in yourself. If that's the only investment that you can make, right? If you don't know about stocks and bonds or crypto, and I don't do any of those things, I'm just throwing words out there, real estate, whatever it is. All right. I'm not saying, hey, go buy a house or do this. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying first, invest in yourself. Okay. And not being willing or not liking to learn or claiming that you're incapable of learning something. All right. In fact, one last thing on that topic that just came to mind about people who don't like to learn. You know how many people I know came here to the United States from another country, been here 10, 15, 20 years, and never learned English? Okay. And when you see these people, they have 2, 3 jobs, hardworking people, honest people, great people, right? They got 2 or 3 minimum wage jobs. They'll do one minimum wage job, run off to another minimum wage job, and then on their free time on the weekends, they have another minimum wage job. Why do you think that is? Because they lack work ethic? No, because they don't want to learn. They're unwilling to learn. All right. If you go to France, if you're from America and you move to France, or you move to Saudi Arabia, or you move to Japan, well, English is spoken in many parts of the world. But do you think that you can really, really, really grow inside of that market, inside of that economy without learning their native language? Absolutely not. Right? If you're unwilling to learn, you'll be hampered in how much you can earn. Now, the last bonus reason that people stay broke before we get out of here, guys, and this is it. Like I said, I was going to give you the truth and nothing but the truth. People hang around losers. There's no other way to say it. If you're broke, you're hanging around a bunch of losers. Okay? You're hanging around a bunch of other people who are also broke. What if I said to you that all of my friends were pedophiles? What would you think about me? You think that I'm the only one who's not a pedophile? What if I said to you all of my friends were crackheads? What do you think about me? You think that I'm the only one that doesn't smoke crack? I just hang around these people for no reason? If you're broke, period, point blank, end of story, the people you hang out with are also broke. Okay? There's a big, big reason, a big, big thing that keeps people from changing their life, changing their finances, and moving an upward trajectory towards financial freedom. All right? So with that, am I saying that you have to get rid of your friends? No, I'm not saying you got to get rid of your friends, but yeah, I'm saying you got to get rid of your friends. You got to get rid of your circle. You got to find new circles. You're going to be the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, period, point blank, end of story. All right? That's just the way it is for everybody. You're going to be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're not happy with your life as it is in any realm, it could be finances, it could be health. Okay. If you're unhealthy, I guarantee you the people you spend the most time with are unhealthy. If you have poor eating habits, I guarantee you the people you spend the most time with have poor eating habits. And if you're broke, I guarantee you the people closest to you are also broke. All right. So hang around the people who have the things that you want to have. And I'm not talking about material things. I'm just saying the things that you want for your life, find people who have that, befriend them, and hang around those people. So with that, guys, I will see you in the next video. Till then, be amazing. Peace.